Bulls.
I picked this one at random, KTL. So I forgot that shit at the beginning.
I can't even hear it, man.
You can't hear it?
Oh, I hear it now.
Hey,
That's that shit. They got that shit at the beginning that you was talking about.
nigga act like he ain't never heard of gas before.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey.
Yeah, see, this is fire. The ending, the beginning was just bad.
This beat alone is better than everything you ever heard, bro.
Probably, but the beginning.
All right,
isn't.
man. All right, man. What's good, man? We are back with another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast. Today is episode 30. 30 weeks in a row. 30 weeks straight. Consistency. Yeah, it's crazy, ain't it? 30 weeks, man. So we back with another episode today. Before we get into that, I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves. Who we got in the building? My name is Showtime Slim.
That nigga asked himself a question. Yeah, it's Black Roots in this motherfucker again.
You're supposed to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit you be doing. That shit's stupid.
I don't know if I should actually be doing
Go
this
ahead,
shit,
KT,
but, like,
you got
I'm
it.
not angry, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty calm and, placated.
All right. Who else?
It's art, man.
Shout out Art.
Lordy Lord, and I just got one question.
Mhm.
How does he know these things?
All right, man. So Art chose this movie. Before we get into like really breaking it down, Art, go ahead and get tell us why you chose this movie. 12.
Oh, did you introduce the movie?
Yeah, I'm gonna let him do it. Go ahead.
This is 12 Angry Men. Why did I choose this movie, man? I wanted to. Well, y'all know I'm usually choosing these like obscure ass, random artsy ass movies and shit.
Mhm.
That only I would like. Well, I wanted to try something different, try something a little bit normal. I thought this was a really good, interesting, but it's a normal movie, but at the same time, it's not a normal movie. It's still a very, different type of movie.
Hey, Art, there's a rumor going around.
I'll say it. I'll say it.
Is it true,
I'll
my
say it.
friend?
I'll say it.
Say it. Say it then.
This nigga is guilty of picking a movie in order to get a high vote or a high rating. He's guilty. He's fucking guilty.
Hey,
What say you, Art?
kind is
What do you
always-
say about
No,
that?
no, I'm not done. His kind is
let
trying
me
to
explain myself.
Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Go ahead.
Bullshit.
It's that's a yes and a no. Like I didn't purposely. I didn't purposely. Like, yo, let me just get
I
a.
told you.
Let me just be safe.
him
I wasn't
talk,
like, yeah, shut up. I wasn't like, yo, let me be safe and just pick this high. If I want to do that, I'll just pick fucking Goodfellas or some shit. No, I wanted to pick I still wanted to pick something that was relatively obscure, but I wanted to show niggas that I know what good filmmaking is. Tyler Perry could never make a movie like this.
Facts.
So you didn't just pick this movie for the purpose of getting a high rating.
However, it was a part of his reasoning why he picked it.
Yeah, I did want to show people. I know what a good.
Is it because is it because they've been like doubting your credibility when it comes to movie picks and shit? Yeah.
They gave Art a nickname within the movie community. It was calling him Mr. 2 for 4, and I don't know if he liked that shit too much.
Hey, KTL, since you here, man, let me. So there will be spoilers in this review, but KTL did not watch this movie. So KTL, I'm gonna let you. If you want to take control, you know what to do. You can take the lead here.
Hey,
be like the stage
all
manager.
right, let's get started talking about this shit, man. 12 Angry Men. Let's get to Roots with the cast list, man. Roots, tell us who was in the movie.
Yeah.
Why don't you give a fuck about him?
KTL know what to do.
Hey, we getting real tech savvy around here. So
we got a stage manager around here, nigga.
That's cast man Roots
quick.
to y'all. Cast Roots.
Oh yeah, bring it. Let's show them what we've been learning, Roots.
Yeah.
Hey, shut up. Bam. Take a look at the screen, guys.
Yeah. We ain't got it. Y'all can see who we talking about now. God damn it. Yeah. Anyway, in 12 Angry Men, I'm gonna be honest with you. A majority of these niggas, I don't know.
Y'all ain't saying nothing here.
What's good, boys? Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
Bob Celeste in the building. Bob Celeste in the building.
Oh man.
Hey, you gonna have to pull up the cast for the other joint now, Luno here.
Yeah, no problem at all.
So hold on. Can I ask a question? Because Art, you seen both of them, right? If you can come off mute real fast.
Nah, y'all guys seen the 1990s one? I just watched the 50s one.
I think if Art seen both of them, I was gonna see how like parallel it is. Like, is it the exact same shit or did shit change? Because if it did, if nothing changed, then
I'll tell you one thing.
I seen.
It wasn't no brothers in the first one.
Real quickly, let's just be perfectly clear, right? This movie is fundamentally based on a play.
Hold on, y'all talking at the same time, y'all.
Oh, my bad. I was gonna say the movie is made based on a play, so the fundamental story is gonna be kept intact. That's what I confirmed when I googled the two versions. But they changed certain things. One interesting thing is that they made a fucking jury diverse in the second one. There's only one non-white person there. Because two, there was no music in the original.
But Luno, like the difference, like the obvious difference, I feel like is one of them was made in the 50s, and that's kind of before like desegregation and shit, right?
I'm gonna get into it a little bit more. In
every sense of the word.
I'm gonna get into a little bit more. But that theme is definitely present. And y'all, if y'all felt it in the 90s version, I'm gonna tell you that it was extremely palpable in the 50s version. There's definitely like an ethical theory underneath this that has a lot to do with democracy and equality and shit. And I'll get into it. But I'll let you guys lead because obviously you guys watch the the proper one.
I want to say that like. Well, I don't know if we in this part yet, but I want to say even though they changed some characters, the characters still kind of stay the same. They changed it was like the race of certain characters, but
the basis, what the character is standing on is like the same.
Yeah, the exact same. It's almost damn near the same dialogue. Like
that makes sense because it's just a remake.
That don't make sense.
It do pulls because it's a remake, and so they kind of keep the essence of the original. But they kind of made it more modern for the 90s.
Nah, he said the same dialogue. The nigga with the damn kufi on couldn't have had it like that.
It kind of like I can. He was like these are uppity black niggas.
So he was like a uppity white nigga.
Yeah, in the original he was just a racist ass white man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they changed the races to a black man. That's crazy.
Yeah, but majority were. I think there was only one non-white juror in the original one, which made some of the remarks that were made. No pun intended. Shout out to Caleb. That they definitely made it clear that there's this inequality shit going, this bias shit, this whatever. Like But
hey, Roots, brother, tell us about the 12 fellas and why they angry, man.
All right. Well, for one, I can see that the three of them probably angry because they old as shit because they motherfucking. Pictures is black and white.
Hold on a second, Slim. You said you only knew one of these characters.
Can I say technically it was 11 angry men? The main person was kind of competent.
Nah, that nigga was pissed too.
There was a time where he got pissed. Niggas seen niggas playing tic-tac-toe.
Yeah,
he got pissed.
This is not a game. That nigga got pissed.
Yeah.
Niggas snatched the nigga's game up and balled that shit up.
Slim, I just seen a couple of names that are pretty recognizable. That's crazy.
So this is the thing.
And shit like that, yeah.
I only know one of these people from based off name. Roots just told me off screen about somebody else.
That's
and like,
from ATL.
Who?
The black nigga with the kufi.
Uncle George.
Yeah,
and he was Bubba from Forrest Gump. He actually
all right. So
in
go
a
ahead,
lot of good movies. But
Final Destination 4.
Yeah, I just don't know him by name. I know him from like certain things that they've been
Who the nigga with the Majin Vegeta hairline?
The Jack Lemmon?
Nah, the black nigga. Dorian Harewood. Nigga got a Majin.
Oh, that was the old black nigga?
The dude with the black
Nah, not the old.
The black dude with the green shirt.
Oh, I see him. You
He
talking
was
about
in
the
like
one
a
that?
lot. He was like in a lot of black exploitation movies back in the day, like those type of
Bro, they got James Gandolfini there, bro. That's Tony Soprano, bro. Like,
I've never seen The Sopranos.
There's somebody in the original as well who fits that sort of Italian, like the accent, whatever else. He captures that a lot. They had that in the original as well.
I think they had a German in this remake, right? Was that man a German?
Well, was he the watchmaker?
Was he a watchmaker? There was a watchmaker. I think he was.
Okay, because there's a watchmaker with a distinctly European.
They had a watchmaker.
No, the watchmaker was the other, he wasn't
the one
German.
that kept flip-flopping?
He looked like a Hispanic dude, but he wasn't Hispanic. He was like from Russia or something.
Okay.
The dark, like he wasn't the dude with the glasses. He's the other dude with the accent.
Oh yeah, I thought they had a Hispanic.
The Rush. This guy.
I thought they had a Hispanic in the movie.
Was he Hispanic? He might have been.
There was another one. Not this guy.
Nah, not him.
Let me see. I got you. I know what you're talking about.
No, because you remember there was a scene where a dude called him Middle Eastern, but he said Middle Eastern European.
He said, yeah.
So I don't know what he was.
but I saw somebody
This
else.
guy, Edward James Olmos.
Yeah, he one of them niggas
Danza
too.
right there. You don't know the boss, Tony Danza?
Edward Olmos is one of them niggas, bro. I don't know what he's from,
Edward
but he
James
definitely one of
Olmos,
them
he
niggas.
was in a couple.
Well,
of
look,
movies
we can actually look
that.
up what he's from right now, real quick.
Yeah, that's why we got to pull.
I don't even know why
niggas.
this shit matter and why we not talking
Edward
about the
James
movie.
almost was Selena Pops. He was in that movie where he was the teacher and shit, like in like an inner city teacher movie, like one of the first one of them joints.
Oh, that is James Dancer. What Dan Dancer, whatever his name is.
A real popular
Tony Danza.
Tony Danza.
Yeah, it is.
That's the boss.
Tony Danza is good.
That's crazy. Slim don't know nothing about no movies.
But now it's kind of sucks that the black nigga is only known as Uncle George when he's like a really good actor and shit.
I think KTL said I don't know nothing about movies.
He was crazy in this movie, bro. No fuck, bro. Everybody, wow, bro. Like and the one we seen, every actor went crazy to me.
Yeah,
About to say that really does lead into the next part, man. So Puo said he felt like everybody went crazy. What about the rest of y'all? What y'all think about the cast and they like?
No, like this movie. This movie is like pretty much 100% writing and good acting. That's if any one of those two didn't work, then the movie would be trash. Because that's all they relied on. It was one setting, 12 actors, and good acting.
Yeah, it was about dialogue and the characters.
I was so fucking impressed, bro. Like to have these niggas in one room, like the movie is all dialogue. That's it. That's it, bro. These niggas made a great movie off a conversation for 2 hours, bro. That shit is impressive. I don't know, bro. This shit up there. This shit in the clouds, maybe. I don't know.
What about everybody else? Luno, Roots.
So Luno saw the 1957 or 9 version. Mm-hmm. So what about those characters?
Seen one, I seen both. So he gotta give his comparison. He can't really give a comparison, but he can give his thoughts on that movie.
Well, there are some elements, that I catch in the original movie. Obviously, for its time, we've watched some old movies in here before. So one thing I definitely noticed is the omission of music and soundtrack effects, as it were. Everything is basically live recorded. From the camera and whatever mics they got in the room. It's very bare bones in the production. All you really get is them in the room, and occasionally the camera's gonna move and stuff, but it was very minimal on the production end. And so what y'all talking about in this movie with the focus on dialogue, I think that was extreme in the original movie. There was almost no cinematic flair added to the movie whatsoever. In fact, there may be none.
Yeah, definitely. Like it was pretty basic.
Here's a question that I have real quick. On the like we talked about on the show several times about like the Rotten Tomatoes ratings or like IMDb, etc. Which version of the movie has the higher acclaim?
I think it's normally the original.
They
normally rate the originals higher.
But I could see why this one would be
that's what I was
better
saying.
rated.
This one has bigger
actors. Real quick, I know.
So I'll say this. Let me say this. When I was in a call earlier in a Opera server. Hey, y'all know Opera. The audience might not know Opera. And Big Red was there, and I told Big Red, I said, Big Red, I gotta watch 12 Angry Men because these are the type of movies that he would watch. So I figured he would like it. And what Big Red said, he started talking to me, and he started talking to me about the one from 1950 something. And I was like, nah, we watching the remake. And he told me, I ain't watching no remake or no classic. And so it might be some people that feel that way.
That's how my bad. I ain't mean to do that, but that's how niggas are, bro. Like any classic shit, niggas, I'm not doing that. Or this was like Lion King, even though it just came out like maybe 4 years ago, they could have made a even better one, but niggas will still be like, that ain't better than the 99 one. Like that's just how people are.
I've seen reviews of remake, like because I usually read reviews sometime when I watch movies. I've seen reviews of remakes where they always compare it to the original movie. Like they don't never look at it from a standalone.
I agree with that. I saw that especially with Suicide Squad. I think everybody who watched the original Suicide Squad could not let the own movie.
Yeah, me too.
Lived
I was the same way. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, hold on, real quick. Since we speaking on the ratings, you know, I got IMDb up, and the original has a higher rating. The original is a straight across 9.
Just said that,
We said that, brother.
Doesn't surprise
we
me.
just said that.
In the least, I think that the spirit of comparison is always going to draw.
Have a factual basis for that.
We didn't know it, but that's what I was saying. Like the original normally has the higher rating than the remake. So I watched
normally, but this is actual facts. Like that's what I'm saying.
Find me a remake that's higher than the original.
Well, we don't have to do that for the purposes of this, but we can acknowledge that the comparison effect is going to impact how they watch these sort of remakes and stuff like that. But from what I'm getting from y'all and from the rating, which is still good, I think it's like an 8 or 7.8 or something like that.
7.8.
Yeah, it's still a good movie. But I guess the original is seen as a masterpiece, and that's why it was remade. So
all right. So we talked about the cast and you know how people feel about the actors and how they played their role. Let's talk real quick about like the I can't say the beauty and the cinematography because it's one setting, but more so I think in this case it'd be about the ambiance and the tone that they set. Like how'd y'all feel about like the surroundings of the movie?
Well, like I think one consistent thing that played a part in just how like their mood that they was in. Like I don't know if anybody else has ever done jury duty, but I have, right? And
I
will say
selected, but I didn't go.
I will say that they had something they was dealing with that
committed
I did
a crime.
have to deal with.
Nigga finna go to jail.
I had school. Hey, I told them I had school.
Was that the truth?
Yeah, I think I had school back then. I just didn't want to go, honestly. I just didn't want to go to jury. But I didn't know what it was.
But what I was saying, one thing that they dealt with consistently throughout the first half of the movie that I didn't have to deal with is that the fact that the AC was not working in there, bro. Dude with the hat on, he probably should have took the hat off, but dude with the hat on was sweating bullets the entire time. Like he was on trial.
All of them niggas running through their shirts and shit.
You know what's crazy about that Root though? The nigga, somebody asked the nigga if he like ran with the 5%ers of Islam or nothing. The nigga said no. So what is he doing? Like, what? Are you still wearing shit?
He's still probably represented or something. I don't know.
Maybe he's just mad and he like bow ties, bro. I don't know.
They can't sell a bean pie.
That nigga just a racist bitch ass nigga. That's really all.
Let me try to if I could real quickly, right?
A thing to be known about. You just mad and you got like bow ties.
No, I'm sure we know a lot of people like that out there in the world. And I just want to compare some plot points and just make sure that we're getting more or less an identical story. So obviously we all get sat down. You guys hear during the court case, like it opens up with the court case still, right? Like where they're about to go to jury duty. So you guys get the beginning with the judge saying that if y'all think that there's any reasonable doubt, it's to be not guilty. If you have no reasonable doubt whatsoever, you're to vote guilty. He will face death. He says all that, right?
Same thing.
Okay, cool. We get put into the room. There's a little bit.
Let me ask you a question, Luna.
Okay.
What was the race of the person on trial?
The race of the person on trial, it appeared to be ostensibly like Hispanic, I would say.
Okay.
I got one more thing to add. It might not be important. It might be in the original. It was death by electric chair, and this one is death by lethal injection.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's because they removed the electric chair like after so many years.
Yes,
so they took that part out of the movie.
That's correct.
And changed it to lethal injection.
Yeah, I got a question. Oh no, my bad. You got it like an important point.
No problem. I was just gonna say that, and also to be clear, right? I want to get clear. Did they use the names of the jurors? Did they get referred to by name, or were they referred to by
number?
Some niggas said like 3 niggas might have said their name.
Okay, I'm asking because in the original movie, I believe that it was intentionally done that they were all numbered, like jury number, whatever, right? And they do that in the original. The cast is the exact same way. when you look it up and shit. So I'm just making sure that that's consistent.
Yeah, they did it by number, and at the end of the movie, 2 of them introduced themselves.
Oh,
like,
Davis
by name.
and
Yes, exactly.
Okay, got you.
So it's pretty much seemed like
Simon
it's
or some shit too. Or did I make that up?
Simon?
I think you might have made that up, bro.
I don't know Simon.
Okay.
It was just Davis and
no,
the
Simon
other man
was in the
met.
gift, bro.
The other guy's name was McCardle, and he was an old man.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the same.
Simon was in the gift. Too. That's a fact.
All right, let me ask y'all something, man. How do y'all feel about niggas in their 60s calling other niggas old men?
That's insane.
You old ass niggas calling this other nigga old because he's 10 years old. Like, get y'all old ass.
That's a good point. That's
another thing. The main dude from the first one, I'm not going to keep bringing back the first one, but the main dude for the first one was probably about 15 to 20 years younger than the one we watched. So,
look at these niggas.
Yeah,
that dude was like a blow. That guy was like a blowfish.
KTL.
One of them ugly ass fish. That y'all know
KTL,
ugly
bro.
ass fish.
Hey, this nigga was pissed.
That's my nigga right there.
He was like an ugly ass fish, bro.
You see these niggas how they look? These old ass niggas in there calling this other nigga. Oh, you walk up on an old man like that? Oh, this old man is tripping. Nigga, you old. Bitch, you 60.
Well, maybe it's old, like, you know.
Look at these niggas, KTL.
Look at this collection of characters.
Well, hold on.
Oh, bitch.
Not at y'all. While y'all talking about this, I want to point out that number 6 stood up for the old man. He said, "Hey, you gonna get stepped on." He said, "You gonna get stepped on."
That nigga was talking about stepping on niggas.
Yeah, he was talking crazy. That dude.
That nigga said you can say what you want. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing.
You know what? I got a problem with that because he did that about maybe 45 minutes into the movie. When the black nigga started going crazy, he ain't say shit. Black nigga, sit your ass down, old man. He ain't say nothing. Where was all that shit in?
So I'll say this. It was a couple times when the black dude started doing that. They let him go the last time, but it was a couple times where niggas said something to him. But they let him go that last time. When
they let him go, but they at the end of it, they say, sit your, what do you say? Don't open your filthy mouth again.
Oh yeah, but that was
that's such a
dude I thought was German
to say to somebody.
Nah, because the dude was talking crazy about
he was talking
Hispanics,
filthy about
KTL.
that man.
He was called. I wish John was here, but he was calling them all kind of slurs.
I wish John was here.
I was thinking that shit too.
I thought about tagging John Doe when I was watching it.
Like, you just go antagonize John? Like, what?
No, he needs to know what's going on. Awareness.
What are you gonna do about it? These people probably dead.
Was that not like
30 years old, bro?
Kind of funny to y'all that like usually they'll be talking about black people like that, but this nigga was like wilding on Hispanic.
I think that was intentional.
I think that was also right. I do think this was intentional.
I want to give you guys.
Hold on, real quick.
Go ahead.
So there's been, and it's only in certain places. I know California is one of those big places. New York isn't as bad now, but during that time where there was an influx in Hispanic people coming to the country, there was a disdain between white people and Hispanic people, but it was really like fighting between black people and Hispanic people because it was like we both at the bottom, and you know. Both of us can't be at the bottom. Somebody got to be under somebody else's paws if necessary. So and that's been a consistent thing. It's still going on in California right now, where the gang wars between the Hispanics and the blacks are really bad. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's actually just on screen that it's been going on for much longer than just recent.
Hey, but y'all know something else?
Like,
hold on, y'all know something else? Not only was it like the racism that was being put out here, I also feel like it was a bit of between like classes, like
classes,
lower class type.
Definitely.
Because the black guy, I guess he like grew up in the projects or in the slums. They called it the slums.
Oh, talking about Dorian, Courtney.
That wasn't Courtney. Courtney was the foreman. And the only reason I know Courtney was the foreman is because I know Courtney from Let It Shine. I talked about that. He played a preacher, I think, or I don't know. He played the dude that was rapping. I don't know. Anyways,
I know you're talking about the dude.
But
Everybody Hates Chris.
The dude from Everybody Hates Chris, yeah. But Courtney was the foreman. But the other guy that Puos called Majin Vegeta, and you called him something else. Him. They was speaking on how he grew up in the slums and he was getting pissed because dude was talking crazy, talking about everybody. Like he said, the slums breed murderers, and like he was just talking down on like he come from there, so that's why he a murderer type shit. Yeah. And so I think that was a little bit of that too, where they were kind of disrespecting people based off where they grew up and the class that they were in and shit like that.
He was pissed, didn't he? Stormed, and which I don't like the fact that like he was pissed, like people had to hold him back at the beginning, but towards like the middle, he was just letting people talk crazy.
He definitely was getting hold a couple times.
He got hold a lot of times. They didn't let him conduct. They all agreed and then they disagreed every time they got mad. And this dude just had to deal with it. Like I honestly don't.
I got a question though. Before all the niggas like started like the character development and everything when they first got in there, which one of them niggas would y'all be in jury duty? Like I definitely would be the nigga like trying to go to the game and hurry this shit up.
Yeah, probably. I'd probably be him too. Okay.
I would probably, because one thing that I noticed in this is exactly who I was. The Hispanic dude probably had the least amount to say about what was going on, and that's how I was. And it's crazy how it's a similarity because the jury dude that I had, it was a black dude on trial.
What was it on trial for?
It was evading the police, marijuana paraphernalia, and possession of marijuana.
And how did y'all vote?
Arrest. It was by case. The only thing that he was found guilty on was the paraphernalia because that's what he had. Everything else they couldn't fully prove without.
I think you've told this story before.
Okay.
This happened not too long ago. So
you tell it to the viewers, KTL.
No, I'm just saying. Like,
but that's the crazy part because like I was one of the few black people actually on the jury, and he was the only Hispanic dude on the jury, and so he was kind of more quiet. I'm not sure why exactly. Maybe that might just be him, but I know I was more quiet. But just because I was in a room full of white people on jury duty, I didn't even want to be there at the same time. Like I was missing out on work. Just to be there.
There's a sort of like technical like depth that these characters hit that I don't think your average layperson, even if they have a little bit of law knowledge, like could go in there and really not only recall the facts presented in the case extremely well, but also like connect those facts in such a like inductive way. Like I don't think that I have the capability to go to a court case and really put shit together like Juror 8. I don't know about y'all, but I don't know who I'd be in that room, but I'd definitely be emotional if I got taken to that extent, that whole long sort of discussion, like
I gotta
shit,
say
ours we was doing that shit for about fucking 3 days whenever I went.
I don't think the Hispanic dude said the least, Roots. I think he might have talked a little bit, but everything he said was informative.
I wasn't saying that there was anything wrong or that he was belittled in any way.
I think the person who talked the least was the white dude, the regular white dude who was
flip flopper.
Yeah, who couldn't decide like.
He definitely
back and forth, guilty,
shit.
not guilty, nah. The nigga not. I think he was
just following along with niggas, bro.
Yeah, he was very impressionable. Like a nigga say, "Oh, that shit don't make sense." Oh, okay, that do make. Okay, now wait a minute. Like that nigga was just doing that. The whole
Hey, Pools, somebody else is the older black guy. I think he had a part where he said one thing. I think that was
Ossie Davis.
Ossie Davis.
I don't remember what it was that he pointed out specifically, but I think he only had like one part where he was really speaking on some shit. Like when he first started talking, it was like he didn't even know what the fuck he asked to
see. He asked to hold the knife. That was what he was talking about.
Okay, and it was him that said it about you couldn't stab that way.
No, that was the nigga.
I thought that was
the Majin Vegeta nigga who said you can't stab that way.
So no, he said you can't stab that way, correct? But the Ossie dude was the one that just questioned it. I'm kind of confused about this.
Yeah, he said something. What did he say?
Can you pull a picture up of the Majin?
So he asked.
I got you. Right.
He asked to see the knife. They had already had the knife stabbed in the table or whatever. They had talked about the knife earlier, and then he asked to see the knife. So they passed it over to him or whatever, and he was looking at it. And he was like, I'm trying to figure out how. He was like, the kid was like about 5'7".
Yeah,
he talked about
like
the height 6'3" or some shit like that. 6'2".
That's what he talked
about.
How
do you stab downward on somebody who's taller than you? That's what he was asking.
Yeah, that's a fact. And I think that was really his only big point. I don't think he really said a lot other than that in this movie.
Well, he concluded that the pause that the train wouldn't be like that. You couldn't like it'd go by in
that was him
like 15 seconds.
Yeah, he said like when dude was like, how long would it seem? Like 10 seconds. Like he was.
Oh yeah, he said 10 seconds approximately.
Yeah.
Okay. You saw the dude. It's a dude in green, right?
Yeah, that picture is bullshit. Show them from the front, Paul, so you can see them out there Vegeta shit.
Well, I ain't got none of them.
Hey, no, but I
I'm not gonna
want to
see them on the bottom.
the main nigga should have been this nigga's lawyer though, bro. That nigga is like a Batman level.
Nah, for real, dude. Like, bro, I can't. Let me see.
I mean,
so the trial for us lasted a week, and then we were in like deliberation jury wise for 3 days. So that's what is that? 8 days. That's 8 days because it was only during the work week. It was from Monday to Friday, and then the next Monday is when we started the deliberation. So if it lasted somewhere around that time frame, let's say it lasted 4 days, that means he remembered 100% of information over the span of 4 days.
I think they said it was 3 in the movie. I think they actually
over the span of 3 days, he remembered every piece of information and started tying shit together just based off of that. That's detective work shit.
So he was good.
However, the nigga went out and bought the same knife.
No, he was good, but he wasn't even the one that came up with the final piece of evidence that like
it was the old man.
Yeah, it was the old man.
Yeah, that was some crazy like
We're talking about the glasses?
The glasses.
Yeah, marks on her glasses. So she ain't had glasses when she went to sleep. So she's like, God damn.
That's a good point. I mean, I know that. I wear glasses. I know all of that.
You got those indents on your eyes. Is that because your glasses? I would have been like, get off my dick, nigga. Don't worry about what. Asking me questions about me, nigga. We talking about this other nigga.
Yeah.
I do like how they did that. Like anytime somebody had a thought, they didn't just blurt out their thought. You know, they kind of built into, like, for example, when dude was talking about the stabbing motion of the knife, you know, he explained everything that made him come to the conclusion of being confused as to how, the evidence said it's this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the same thing with the dude with the glasses was talking about. He was like, hey, you got those indents on your eyes. The girl had the same indents. So clearly, if you wear glasses, you have it. I don't have to wear glasses. I don't have it. It's safe to say because she had those marks on her face that she wore glasses too. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciated that. It was a lot. It was a lot of that going on, like sensible arguments and debates, along with being plain ignorant. Shout out to Hat Dude.
So I'm pretty sure the influence for this movie might be the work of the American philosopher John Rawls, because he had this notion of the original position, which is basically where to make the best choices for a society, he thought that what you need to do is remove your own biases and preconceptions and operate as if you don't know anything about the background, ethnicity, gender, sex, whatever else about the person that you're making choices for. And he believed that it was reason over like the heart or the compassion. It was justice over compassion. That was
just being completely objective,
more or less.
I was about to say too, it was some people in there thinking on logic, some people thinking on emotion, and some people just thinking on just
the how does he know this nigga, the disgruntled looking nigga that nigga was pissed because his son ain't like him, and he saw his son and this dude like, oh, how could my son not like me? He must clearly not like his dad. He did it.
It's kind of interesting that everybody comes into the room besides the one juror 8 pretty much full of bias and preconception to the point they were ready to throw him in the electric chair. In the lethal injection for you guys, right? So the idea here is that when we go through this process of removing bias and preconception, that we start to become less convinced of what we previously thought. And I think that's what they were trying to show.
So here's a question, right? And we don't gotta, get too deep into this topic because the purpose of these podcasts is to review a movie, not to, delve into the mind of people, right? But that shit don't is that like kind of wild when y'all think about the movie? Like some shit like this, motherfuckers just going in there with their own ideas where a person life hang in the balance and shit. Like this type of shit has probably happened a lot, like within the jury system. You know what I'm saying? In America, like, you know what I'm saying? That's not kind of like wild to y'all. Like,
I just think it's a.
I mean, it's wild, but it's a normal thing.
That's how humans are.
One of the things that one of the jurors said, I forget which one it was, but he said there's been plenty of times where a jury came out with a guilty verdict, the person dies in jail, and then later on, the person who actually
confessed later.
He confessed later.
I'd always been had like I never really. I don't know if I would really agree with
Sound
the
a little
jury.
muffled, Art.
You hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I said I always was on the fence about like the jury or your peers because like I don't want 12 people that I have no idea who the fuck they are determining whether I live or die. That's kind of crazy to me.
Who do you want to do it?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind
all
of
my
the point, right?
What you mean?
Well, all my partners. Well, for one, right? Like all your partners, like you could have really murdered somebody, and they'll just be like, "Nah, it's my boy." You know, like I feel like that's something we should definitely avoid.
Exactly.
But the thing is
who I
that,
want.
but what I feel like when you say you're like shaky about like having random people do it, you're already sort of like presupposing like a kind of human nature that you think people have in such a way where having random people actually disadvantages you. What they're trying to show with this movie is that having random people is good from different backgrounds, different views, or whatever else, and just leaving that shit aside and trying to, you know what I'm saying, figure out how we're supposed to treat the situation, just work on facts. So
I got
okay.
I don't want to cut you off because I got to kind of change the subject.
No, good.
But no, I got one very, very small critique, kind of a nitpick, that I don't think maybe they shouldn't have showed the dude that was about being arrested, like, because that like if you automatically like he looks innocent as hell, he got the puppy dog eyes and the like, so you kind of automatically know where the story is going.
You don't look innocent to me,
especially in
and that's exactly what I disagree. That's exactly what I was going to say. So the same way that you saw, you know, somebody that looked innocent, somebody else may have saw somebody that looked innocent, but there were other people that looked at him and was like, oh, he's guilty just based off of looking at him.
That's why I think they shouldn't have showed him at all. I think they should.
Who else look at the screen?
Well, that just gives you more.
He said, I'm looking at this shit.
I'm just letting my man get his point off before we talk about got the modular.
The fact that, you know, watching the movie, seeing that first scene of the clip with the kid, you know, with his life hanging in the balance, already gives you it plants the idea for your own, you know, biasness to, you know, show itself the same way that their biasness showed in this jury.
To be fair, though, it wasn't the jurors looking at the kid; it was us, right? To think that they sat through all the grueling details of that evidence and they took that last look, we don't know what was in their minds. I think that was sort of intentional.
Yeah, so I think,
okay, like his alibi was he was at the movies. Can't you just go to that same movie and the person who printed your ticket out be like, oh yeah,
they said that they went and interrogated people that worked at the movie theater and nobody was able to ID him. They said nobody was able to ID him.
I'm gonna keep it a bug, man. Bro might have did that shit. Now that I think about it, he probably, so he couldn't remember the movie. Nobody seen him there. Not even the nigga who did his ticket shit. No, he didn't. All he did was asking nigga.
I think that's a stupid point.
All he did was asking nigga, oh, you remember what you saw last Sunday? And the nigga couldn't remember.
How did he even know that? How did he know? How did he know he went to the movie?
He just kept asking that nigga, like, what you do?
How does he know?
So he just randomly stumbled upon that nigga going to the movies too.
Yeah, he asked that nigga like, well, let me ask you that, because that was the dude's main point. Like, bro, you said this and it didn't happen. You couldn't recall anything. This,
because for some reason he kept going back with the days, so it seemed like he was trying to get to something specific. And then dude said, I went to the movies with my wife. So I'm like, how the fuck did he know this nigga went to the movies too? How did he know this information?
He just kept asking that nigga, like, what did you do?
And it's a coincidence that he went to the movies too.
It's a movie, bro. Like that's the only thing. Like when I was watching it, I was like,
might be a plot hole.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think it makes a good point at all. I disagree with that point.
No, they made a good point. 5 days ago, they said the police was interrogating this nigga father dead in the next room. Like,
I don't agree. I'm sorry. So he made a lot of good points. I probably agree with every point except that point right there that he tried to make with the I think the dude was German, right? Was he German or something else?
Yeah, that might have been a German. Like that.
Yeah, I think that point he tried to make with him was not a good one, because regardless of all of the pressure and how this dude is, first of all, let me say this first before I say it. I feel like maybe he was making the point of the guy being foreign and not that good with English and shit and maybe because any of us would know what movie we went to go see, even if we don't know who's in it. We know what we got a ticket to go see. We know what movie we just watched last week or whenever it was, 2 weeks ago. I can tell you what movie I watched 3 months ago. So that's why I don't think that's a
So
great
Slim,
point that he
quickly to respond to that, right? Remember, there were a few objections raised to that criticism because they said it during the court case. They said essentially, you can cite, psychological, whatever else, he's so traumatized, whatever else. Like I'd remember that's when they went on to that litmus test of asking, what'd you do yesterday and the day before and the day before? But the real thing that was actually interesting there was they said, he's psychologically stressed out, but also they had this other point too that that if you were just like domestically abused by your father and then you like ran out of the house to go to like a fucking movie and shit, try to clear your mind, like whatever, like maybe you're not like all that attentive, like maybe he's shaken up, he's not really paying attention to the movie. So I thought that was a pretty good point.
But somebody else made a point and said he's used to getting like beat on because he's been getting beat for some time, and so somebody was making the point that they don't think that he like. I think they were saying because this guy had been getting beat on by his father for so long, they don't think that would make him just turn around and murder the guy. And so I'm looking at it from the same perspective. He's been getting beat on by his dad for so long, and I don't think he can go to a movie and not know what he's watching because he's getting beat on. Like if it's normalized for him, then it's normalized. But if it's not, then they made it seem like it was normalized for him. That he got beat on for so long that it don't affect him.
That normalization is actually implausible, right? You can't say like because somebody gets beat up all the time that they should just be used to getting beat up. A lot of people come from like fucked up home situations, so I just don't think that would hold water. And then also,
I kind of agree with you.
And then I kind of agree with you on that. Also like again, the old man heard somebody yell, "I'm gonna kill you," but everybody in that room was seemingly just like so willing to say, "How do you know that it's?" They just know that it's him that they heard. Like, you know what I'm saying? That the old man heard. I do think it could be the case that this young kid actually went and bought that switchblade because he was thinking about like either killing himself or like killing his father. I'm not even doubting that. But the idea that it was him who yelled out, "I kill you," I think that is like a huge assumption. And that one didn't even get pressed that hard. Like
it didn't get pressed because go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that I know this is a movie about the court, about the jury and their progression, basically their character progression, because they all changed, most of them, besides one juror. They all changed their stance from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. However, with that being said, and they all voted non guilty, I would like to know the rest of the fucking story then.
You mean like they actually tell you what the real truth was? Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, some closure would actually be really good. But I think since the point was to sell a point about justice, then maybe they thought that the process of the jury itself was enough for the movie's purpose, and the truth itself would be good from what the real truth, the point is, which is the justice. Yeah.
Real quick, I want to point out just to that, that point of seeing the rest of the story. I know that because this is so famous, this movie has been reenacted in certain scenes in a good bit of sitcoms I know that I've watched. My Wife and Kids did one, and Living Single did one.
Family Guy did one too.
Family Guy did one. Impact. And it was another one. It was another one, but this has been recreated a lot. House of Pain, that was the other one, which is also where Dorian is from. He played Janine's dad on House of Pain. But
she had a dad.
I just said Tyler.
Yeah, she got a dad.
She had a dad.
I don't remember her with no
but there was in these, in certain ones, I know for sure in the one in House of Pain, turns out that it was like they were all thinking that he was not guilty, and then they ended up saying he was guilty, and then it turns out that his grandmother was the one that was actually the one that was peddling the weed and shit and tried to escape the country with mad pounds in her bag and shit like that. In which that was just a comedy feel for it. But I say that to say that I don't think it really matters that much on what happens afterwards, because I think just the deliberation was the part that they really wanted to focus on.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the purpose of this movie was for the deliberation. But with that being said, and since they all had a change of heart, where does that leave this main character in this story? Like, not the main character, but this guy. So they're saying there's beyond reasonable doubt that he didn't do it. So you're saying it's
Well,
a
I know.
third party involved, or
They're not
Well,
saying
like,
that
what
there's
the fuck
beyond
happened?
no reasonable doubt that he didn't do it. They're saying
That
that
he did it. My
there's
bad.
it's only there's reasonable doubt that he did do it. It's actually easier to prove that than it is that there's no reasonable doubt that he killed him. You see how we could take testimony and like chop it apart and shit like that and say, did she really see that? Was she wearing her glasses? People don't wear glasses to bed. We're like really cutting that shit away. I feel like that it sort of shows that like the main character actually never changed his position at all. He's skeptical. And if you recall, like during the course of their discussion, every time they said, how do you know that? He says, well, I don't know, but it's a possibility,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the only thing that he was doing was just opposing the fact that these people are saying that all of this evidence, these testimonies are 100% facts. And the only question that he was asking was, how do you know that? If this is the facts, then let me introduce a different perspective, and let's see if that fact still stands up. And most of the time, it didn't.
Right. Yeah. And so what I was saying, I know it might not matter as much because it's not really important to what they were going for. But I think it was Pujo saying, you might have did it, buddy. I think that's what made
he
me
did it.
think, because I'm like, okay, so they're saying he's not guilty. That's going to be the verdict. So, where the fuck?
What's crazy is it sounds as though this conclusion serves two purposes, right? First, to keep the audience talking after the movie, give them a relevant talking point.
That's a really good point.
Something that interests them, but also to show that this is one of those the journey is greater than the destination type of movies. Because the important part is never about what the
it's not about
what
the guy on trial
is and whatever. It's about seeing the actual process and the characters behind the scenes. Whereas like in a regular movie, jurors are a court movie, let's say, jurors are generally relegated as side characters, unimportant, not really having a name, etc. But here the roles are reversed, and the jurors are the main characters, and everyone else is just kind of there along for the ride, from the judge to the defendant, etc.
Okay.
I know I watch Law and Order with my wife pretty often, and there's a lot of times where you don't get the verdict of it. Like even when they're in court and the person who for sure didn't do it, they're on the stand and they finally crack on the stand and they end up confessing. That's as far as the episode goes a lot of the time. So that just speaks to a lot of times it is their only point of what they're showing is the journey.
Did you say the person that for sure didn't do it confesses and then they end it? Like the person that's innocent confesses?
That should be happening.
Yeah.
Like for real. They get so tired of being like pestered.
Well, yeah, I saw
did
that.
it.
I saw it in a movie recently.
Yeah, but they actually do that on Law and Order a lot, where the nigga end up confessing and then
they cut it.
Yeah, like they confess. There's like a oh my god, and then they cut to like the ending shit where they're like discussing the case or whatever between two people or some shit like that. Well, man, I really can't believe.
Yeah, I used to not like
shit like that.
cliffhangers. I used to really not like cliffhangers because there was no resolution. I think later or in my later years, I've gotten more accustomed to like open-ended shit. Yeah. But I used to really not like shit that didn't have a conclusion or ending. It used to get to me.
That pissed me off about The Incredibles, how they ended it. I was wondering what the fuck happened with the Underminer.
Yeah, I have this. Sorry about that.
I just like, okay, bro, like, they're convinced that dude didn't do it, and they're saying that they presented that it could have been somebody from dude past, somebody he went to jail with, somebody who he
said a bunch of people it could have been. Yeah.
Like it's just like, bro, you just throwing shit out. Oh, maybe a nigga he beat up 10 years old could have did it. Like,
right.
They kind of let bro get off easy. Okay, like I don't know, man.
So I do agree that they made good points. Though they made good points.
Easy, bro.
Yeah,
it was 12.
Yeah, they made good points.
Hey, you know what's funny too? They had the people who found him guilty like kind of dig their own grave. We see at the beginning sort of this appeal to authority. I remember one of the guys say, okay, even if he's all emotionally frazzled and stuff like that, I would take the word of the investigator, the detective over the words of this immigrant child, as it were, that has all this emotional problems and stuff. But then later on, right? When they do the knife stabbing demonstration or whatever, and the one guy who says, "Hey, I've been using switchblades for a long time, and I know that it's made with a switch so that you can stab somebody underhand, not flip it over and do it overhand like this is a damn movie, right?" Like it's so
that's
then,
one of them Batman things.
then what's funny is that one of the people who found the kid guilty actually say something like, "Oh, so you're some sort of expert," or something to that effect, right? So they go on to deny the thing they used to justify a point they made before.
Yeah, I think in this movie, what they did that with was, I forget what they were actually talking about. It might have been the glasses shit. And he was talking about these are facts, these are facts, these are facts. There's no way that these witnesses could have possibly, made a mistake. And then he would turn around and say, "Well, how could you actually know that? You're human." And they had already opposed his prior statement with, "Well, the witnesses are human, so they could possibly fuck up."
Well, Roots, the reason he was doing that, he was just so this, like, he was standing on this nigga guilty. I'm not changing my vote. The reason he was doing that is because of what they showed us at the end, and
yeah,
for
he
him,
had ulterior motives.
Yeah, he was emotionally attached to the situation
Yeah,
because of what happened
same
with
thing
his
with
son.
Hat Dude. Same thing with Hat Dude.
Hat Dude had race. He had racist reasons behind it. So
yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's still an ulterior motive, or you feel some type of personal gain in order for this person to be found guilty.
Yeah, because and they did put it out there for us at the beginning of the movie where they told us the relationship with him and his son. They just brought it back full circle. They really didn't fucking bring it up again until the end, I feel like.
One scene I wanted to highlight, and I don't know how it like parallels between the two, but you remember the bathroom scene?
Yeah, there was like two of them.
Yeah, so that Hat Dude or whatever else, I don't know if he's still the Hat Dude that I'm talking about with you guys, but he comes in.
No hats on here. I don't see no hats.
Okay, so he was wearing one in the movie. He was the one who wanted to get to the baseball game, but he came in, tried to convince him, it didn't really work. He kind of left, and then another guy comes in, and they confront each other and stuff. And he asks Juror 8, our little skeptic, the question: suppose we do all this hoorah, and he's actually guilty, and we let him free. What do you do about that?
They did that in the.
Yeah, and what's so funny about that is I think that's actually the guiding philosophy of this film is that we would rather have a world where it's possible that the guilty can walk away free than have a world where the innocent can get punished.
Get charged.
That's a good point. That's crazy right there.
I think the like right there, it just kind of like showcases the principle of like that with every risk, it's about the likelihood of it happening versus the
risk versus
severity
reward,
of what
right?
would happen. You know what I'm saying? If it did happen, right? And so like the case here is like you can't unmurder an innocent person, but you can recapture a guilty person. You know?
Yeah, and I don't even know. I feel like Juror 8 honestly would hate the characterization of a gamble at one point.
What?
Yeah.
What this nigga just say?
No, I agree. No, I agree with what he said.
Yeah.
So say it again. I wasn't following.
So not all the time.
So Juror 8, I think he has the issue with the notion of a gamble. He says that he doesn't know to all these questions because what they're there to demonstrate is that there could be doubt present, right? He's not saying that he's not guilty as a fact. So during the course of this, a lot of people are saying, arbitrary reasons why they should just call it one way or call it the other. Remember, if somebody gets called out because the reason they're changing their mind is because they've been going on for too long. Somebody checks them and says, "Are you not a fucking man? Yeah, are you not a fucking man? Like, are you not going to sit here and give me the reason why you changed?"
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. That was one of them parts where the Hispanic dude kind of went crazy on baseball.
Yeah, he had one scene.
That nigga ran down. Was like, yeah, you got to give a response. You got to give a reason why. Fuck you mean?
Exactly.
You don't tell me I got to do anything
because we're trying to get there by reason. We're not trying to get there because we're gonna throw the dice because we're fucking done. You know what I'm saying? So I think the characterization of a gamble, in some sense, maybe, but I think the character himself, he
would probably going crazy on that dude.
But look, when the black dude, the goofy dude changed his answer, they ain't press him like that. Why ain't this?
Bro, I think they was them the whole movie. Like that nigga hold everybody the whole movie.
They questioned the people who changed their mind who were mad vocal before. Like when niggas were changing their mind, they had a lot to say before. especially that dude in the corner, man. He was a real piece of work. That motherfucker. The whole time he gets up, voices objections and shit. They threatened to beat him up 2 times and shit.
They didn't threaten him. They didn't threaten him in this one.
But the difference is, I think there's a difference in the characters. Like Luno's movie, I don't really know his characters, but he didn't have the Koofy guy like we had. I'm sure they had a character that was the same character.
Yeah, he wasn't black. He was white.
Yeah, it had to be some.
Yeah,
he was still racist. There was still a parallel between
in the original, the one that would be the Koofy dude, like he the one that got pressed about like harassing an old man. Like that's but he got like bitch.
And in this one, he didn't get pressed when he changed his vote because he pretty much was like, I still think he's guilty, but y'all niggas do whatever the fuck y'all want to do. Fuck y'all. Pretty much. And that's pretty much what he did when he changed his vote. So
yeah, which is the process of gradual convincing.
Why they didn't press him though?
I think at that point he had already voiced the fact that he was compromised.
Yeah, he gave up.
They pressed the
other dude wasn't trying to
the baseball dude
though. No. I think that was different. I think the Hispanic guy pressed him because before he said his reasoning, it seemed like the nigga just wanted to do whatever to get it over with so he can go to the game. So it's more like you just saying whatever, you flip-flopping just so you can get the fuck out of here. And I think that's why he kind of took it personal, because the whole time he was like guilty. And then when he changed, he was like not guilty. I'm thinking the Hispanic guy still had in his mind, like, you think this shit a joke, bro. Like, we're not playing around.
But at the same time, I think at the same time he might have had a little bit of an inkling to believe that it's not just because he want to get out of here. He want justice for this kid. He don't want him to get the death penalty for something he didn't do. He believed he innocent, and he just wanted to pull that out of him, so that he knew it himself, so he could stop trying to put on that front and shit.
Well,
whereas with the Koofy dude, he just said, I don't care anymore. You can't make somebody care who don't care.
Well, so I'm of the opinion that so dude definitely said, yeah, I don't believe he's guilty, the dude that wanted to go to the game. But prior to that, he didn't show any reason of him having any second thoughts. So I don't think you can pull something out of somebody that they're not showing signs of. I feel like if that was the Koofy guy, he could have tried all he wanted. He never would have pulled that out of him. Pause.
Right.
He could have tried all he wanted. He got that out. Pause.
Wow.
How do I
There's no way, but you could.
I can see
the whole time though. I was like, bro, how the fuck they gonna change the Koofy dude mind? Ain't no way he's switching.
They didn't.
He just gave up. He's like, man, fuck.
But no, like they could, but at the same time, like they did, like he did kind of make him go back on his, not make him go back on his word, but like flip shit on him, where though he kind of looked embarrassed a couple times.
I think that nigga was just fed up, bro.
Yeah, he just ain't give a fuck no more. Like, let him go. Fuck it, not guilty.
Nigga said, we got at least one. If we could just kill this one, and that'll be the start.
That shit was crazy. That nigga racist as hell.
Another fucking funny ass thing.
He said they reproduce like animals. They all a bunch of crackheads.
Word, like, oh my
he called them wetbacks. He called them
savages.
He was like, let's be clear here, right? Like, there's a few good ones. We all know that, but
yeah, he said like that.
But even right after he said that,
you know
like 2
crazy?
minutes later, he was like,
yeah,
man,
right after that, the nigga
done.
said it wasn't none of them that was good. The nigga switched up immediately.
Oh my god,
that nigga crazy, boy.
I could kill you.
Said he definitely said he knows some good ones, bro. And then right after he said it wasn't none of them good.
I got a question.
Maybe
that part was fire. That part was fire. He said, I could kill you. He was like, you don't really mean that. Really, he was smirking at him and shit.
Go ahead. Art got a question.
No, I was about to say, all right, so this is a remake, and pretty successful remake. Would y'all want to see this remade again?
Hell no.
Yes.
No.
I will watch it.
No.
I will watch it.
I would like to see it.
You know what I would like to see? If they fucking showed the rest of the story.
They're not gonna
I'm
do
definitely interested in what the fuck
you
comes
want
next.
them to tell the rest of the story 26 yeurs later?
You know the story. You got all.
Oh, they do that all the time, KTL.
yeah.
That's ass. That don't make like.
I will say one thing I did like about this movie was that Sorry about that. Just the movement of on-screen characters, despite the minimal cinematography, was actually a very powerful vehicle for this movie. I thought that the limping demonstration with the timer and stuff was extremely cool. I hope it translated for y'all as well as it did for me. But that part there actually added some kind of excitement, and I think also the second one, which was the demonstration of the knife angle. Everybody got a chance to sort of try and see if they can do a downward stab, and all the tension in the room from the pre-existing arguments, like that part there was like extremely tense. Like, are they just gonna stab this thing out of angle? Like, I don't know, It's so
well, that was one thing. That was one thing that was different. Like, it was just one person that tried it. It was not the super old nigga, but the angry old nigga. Yeah. So he walked up with a knife all menacing and shit, grinning and shit. He's like, "Am I shorter than you?" He said, yeah, you shorter than me or whatever. And he went to jab at him, whatever, and everybody, oh God, don't do that. What are you doing?
Oh, that's like, hilarious.
Roos, the funny thing about that is the guy, was he juror number 8, Luna? The one that was
the main character who's the skeptic?
Yeah. So the funny part about that is he volunteered to be the guy, knowing that they haven't been getting along the whole time. He volunteered to be the guy to do the demonstration, and then when dude swung the knife at him, like he didn't give a fuck. Like
now what's interesting, Slim, is that in the original movie, Juror 8 was standing up already just to kind of collect himself after a heated exchange, and when he's up and the number 2 is trying to make like a demonstration or whatever, the guy from the very end, basically he was already standing up. So he walks up to him, and that's where the tension starts in the original movie. It's the idea this guy who really hates this dude right now was walking up.
Right.
But nonetheless, he gets to the demonstration. But what's crazy is that 2 more people try before we get to the dude who claims that he knew how to use a switchblade. So very, very cool. And they all kind of like knelt down to try to simulate the height and whatever. But yeah.
All right, boys. Y'all know what it's time for.
You may as well, man. It's been an hour.
Final thoughts,
ratings, and the like. Let's start off with angry ass Showtime Slim.
Well, I'm not angry. I'm normally not angry.
You're definitely one of 12 other angry individuals.
It's only 6 of us here. So, I think this was a good movie. I heard of this movie in the past. I knew that it was one of those movies that people liked. I never had the urge to watch it, but I think it was pretty good after watching it for the first time. Kind of like what everybody said, like there's not much going on here, and so the movie is pretty much carried by the dialogue and the characters. So, like, it's a character-driven movie, and so for it being something like that, it was really entertaining. Like it held my attention. That's what I was gonna say. It held my attention for the entire time of the movie, and with it just being dialogue and nothing else, like no extra shit going on. They all in the same room. It's actually a bunch of older actors, so it's not like they young and like just out here doing shit. Like, nah, these are some elderly people in this movie. And for them to be able to carry the movie like that and keep it engaging, that shit was pretty good. So the ending of the movie, I guess the ending of the movie, like 15 minutes in, I knew what was gonna happen. And I don't know if it's because of just my experience in like watching movies and being alive on Earth for almost 30 years. I knew exactly what was gonna happen. I don't know why, but I knew how this is gonna end. And so the ending was predictable for me, but the journey up to the ending was. I give this movie a. Do I have anything to say? Yeah, I ain't got nothing else to say. I'll say I was like, normally I do some other shit. I do the trivia thing. I'll say Jack Lemmon. I didn't really do much research, but Jack Lemmon, the main character, he got nominated for a Golden Globe for this performance, but he lost to Ving Rhames, and I'm not sure what performance it was from Ving Rhames.
But some shit like that.
Yeah, so this was in '97, so it had to be some shit he did back then. I don't know when Pulp Fiction came.
Triple X
he
or some shit? When was that? When that came
Triple X came out in like
I'm
2003, bro.
That nigga said
It was
Vin Rain. You said
1994.
Vin Rain. I'm thinking he said
Not Vin Diesel,
Yeah,
nigga.
I'm thinking that nigga said Vin Diesel.
Nigga lost his baby.
Ving Rhames.
Nah, that's hilarious.
Okay, so maybe it's from
Holiday
he
Horse
did
like a
in
bitch.
1998 he had Don King, Only in America, so he might
Hey,
have played Don
black
King
man
in the
won.
movie. And so yeah, he won. However, he called Don Lemon on stage and he gave the award to Don Lemon.
That's fire.
Anyway, so salute to him for that.
I don't know if I
Because I think Don Lemon did it. He did a great job.
They made him do that shit.
He did a great job. And the other guy, juror number 2, I think he did that last monologue he did where he was screaming and yelling and shit. That shit was good. Good acting. Also, this movie, they had a 10-day rehearsal period and then they shot the entire movie in 10 days. So I'll say 1997, that's really good as well. Besides that, I ain't really got nothing else to say. My rating for this movie, I give it an 8.
All right, Mad Roots, it's on you.
Mad
All right,
Roots is
boom.
good.
I've seen this movie maybe one other time fully. Any other time that I've seen it was in pieces. The concept of the movie is definitely fire. Like I said, I've seen this played out in many of different, sitcoms and whatnot, and TV shows and whatnot, and to see not necessarily the original because this is the remake, but to see the original idea at least play out in full fruition is fire to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I have interest in certain things when it comes to law and the judicial system. I think it's mostly fucked up, but it's still interesting at times seeing it play out. How it would normally play out. I think the setting being in one place is a fire concept. You don't have a whole lot of movies where it's a fucking, I don't know, fucking 10-foot by 8-foot room. Not 10 foot by 8 foot, that's a little small. But just a small setting where it's just a good little bit of people in a small setting there and they're just talking. There's not a whole lot of people don't fight. They almost fight. It's a whole lot of almost fighting in this motherfucker. But niggas not scrapping. It's not a bunch of crazy.
Going on.
Yeah, it's not a bunch of crazy music playing. It's simple. You know what I'm saying? So I like the fact that the movie is so good being so simple. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have much else to say other than my rating, which I would give this I wasn't super on the edge of my seat the whole time, like super excited or whatever, and that's kind of what I look for in movies. So I can't give it a super high rating. However, I will give it, I'll say a 7.7.
All right, Bob Celeste, the Raging Lunatic, go ahead.
I think I'll hold out until the rest of the people who've seen the current or the newer one have finished.
It's pretty much the same though, so you can go.
All right. Well, I mean, I have some different remarks certainly about the way this movie looks and the characters that were casted and so on. I mean, I think that it was definitely a mostly white cast, and at that time there were probably a lot of questions about race and stuff like that. So this was probably a really classic film because of the role it had in the history of film, having occurred at proximal to civil rights and shit. I think that the minimalism in the original movie is pretty excessive. There is no music whatsoever besides the very beginning, maybe, and the ending. I know there's one song that played at the very end, but usually for plays, it's the same. Usually don't have music unless it's a musical, and then at the end they play from the band in the back or something. So yeah, it was completely black and white. It was extremely minimal. Camera just pans to different faces. It wasn't anything fast paced or anything of the sort. But the dialogue again was just extremely excellent, and the cast actually from that time, namely Juror 8, Henry Fonda, they were extremely good. Each and every one of them really sold their roles. I don't think anybody mailed it in from an acting perspective. So this movie wins for that shit for sure. I also think that in trying to judge this movie, in part we're going to be trying to judge the play. So it's really tough to get too granular about facts about the plot and how it like progresses and how people like gradually get convinced. But sitting through that though was definitely a pleasure, and I honestly found it kind of like incredible that this movie has nothing in the way of like action. It's almost like watching people in a jury room candidly. Like it was super like interesting because I never really felt that way about a movie. Even like things like Paranormal Activity that do sort of like just like not much camera work. You're just sort of looking in a room while shit happens. I think this was a movie that captured my attention, even though it was extremely minimal and I'm just sort of watching people in a room. So that being said, though, I really can't pull at straws here and try to say there's things that this sort of original classic could have done better. I have to give this movie a 10 out of 10. It's truly one of a kind, and the theoretical sort of framework that's behind it and how it was translated into something that anybody can watch and kind of understand where it's going. It's certainly like a pretty special thing for film, and so it's my pleasure to accidentally watch this. Bob Celeste.
All right, go ahead, Angry Art. It's on you.
What's good, man? I'll say a lot, man. But yeah, it was good. Actually, this movie, this is my first time watching this version of this movie. If y'all didn't know, I watched the original version. This is my first time watching the remake. I agree with everything Slim said. I do sit like he said it was predictable within 15 minutes. I agree, but at the same time, I feel like the fun of the movie was seeing how he was going to get everybody to turn and change their verdict. So that's what made the movie interesting to me. Movie was good. I like the original a little bit better, but I would give this movie a 8.5.
All right, Piss Puos, it's on you.
Hi, man. Of course, I seen the 1997 shit and I got instantly upset. Like, why the fuck this nigga finna make me watch this old ass shit? So I was like, I'm gonna get it out the way early. Long ass day at work. Got off, didn't play the game, didn't even touch the game. Upset, like, fuck Art. Why this nigga? What's up with this nigga?
Proud of you, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I'm proud of you.
Turn the movie on.
I appreciate it, man.
Listening, like, cool. I mean, I obviously knew everybody was going to be persuaded of saying not guilty, because I also, like Roos, I seen like different parodies of a movie or whatever. But sitting down, just watching and not being on my phone at all, and just paying attention to the dialogue, niggas in one room just going crazy. Pause. It was insane to me, and like. I'm basically just gonna say everything that I'm gonna echo everything everyone else already said. So that's it, man. It was dope, man. I'm gonna give it the highest rating I ever gave some shit. I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because I don't think I've seen a 10 out of 10 movie yet. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go 9.5, brothers.
I'm sorry, man. This nigga said a bunch of niggas in a room together going crazy. That shit was funny as hell.
Super pause.
Right.
Super pause, yo.
All right, Slim. What's the number?
Don't include mine, obviously.
Nah, yeah, include your. It's the same movie.
It's not identical, and I feel like I'll keep mine separate as maybe an individual rating.
Right now, but he said the movie is an 8.7 overall.
Okay, I'll take it. I definitely maintained that shit was a 10. The original.
Solid, man.
That shit was incredible to me.
Congratulations, Art.
All right, this nigga can't I guess tell who has the next movie, and it's
we
me.
know who it is. Go ahead.
All right, man. Hey, Slim, how long are you gonna be on mute, bro? Just type it real fast.
Slim, you need to get in here and moderate these niggas, man.
Yo, what's good?
I don't like how you just go mute like that when all you do is talk about like being punctual and all that shit. Fuck out of here, nigga. We gotta start at 8:30. Keep your ass in here the whole time.
But let me tell you something though, Puos. I was right on time with the rating. I posted it in the chat because I didn't speak at the moment.
That's dope.
I was right on time.
You the nigga who introduced niggas next movie, so do your thing.
Yeah, but KTL was in charge today. That's what I was letting him take that.
All right, that's what's up.
Whoa.
It's me then. Yeah, that was
all right. So for the next movie pick, we have Lordy Lord Puos, man.
He already announced it.
No, I didn't. That was a troll. All right, man. So I'm. I
meant you announced yourself. My bad.
Oh yeah, my bad. I apologize, brother. All right, so I usually do like, you know what I'm saying? I like to contribute this podcast for my picks the month we in. And you know what month this is, fellas?
It's June.
No, hold on. You see what he said? You hear what he doing? You hear what he doing? Everybody, y'all listening. Whoever listens to this in the future, listen to what he's doing right now.
Juneteenth.
Like angry man right there.
Look, it's the month of Juneteenth is what.
Yeah, I bet, motherfucker. This is Pride Month, fellas.
I forgot.
So listen,
we finna watch Juno.
Nah, hold on. I was about to, because I fuck with the months of the year. So I was about to say we finna watch Brokeback Mountain. Pause, but listen.
Okay.
But my podcasters, you hear that? My podcasters are raging homophobes.
That's
so
them.
They are homophobes. Everybody, you hear it?
They
didn't say nothing. Women's empowerment.
I'm not a homophobe.
Exactly.
Not watching Brokeback.
It's crazy how he's not including himself.
Homophobe. So we
don't make me a homophobe.
We won't be watching that.
Y'all didn't say nothing when it was Women Month.
All right, what about this week? What about this next week?
So with that, we're gonna go to 2014's one of my favorite movies ever, Gone Girl. It's lit.
Oh shit! Let's go. I was gonna pick that. It was on my list, maybe.
That's really one of your favorite movies ever.
That movie is amazing.
Definitely.
Okay.
Probably my top 5, top 10 favorite.
Shout out,
expecting good things then, brother.
Fucking homophobe.
Nigga say you about to pick some gay shit. That's crazy.
Nah, no funny. I never seen no Brokeback Mountain. It was just a joke. You really
like emphasizing all 3 syllables in that word, dog.
That's how I talk.
It's not just a homophobe, you homophobe. Like
I need everybody to hear it with clarity because that's what you all are.
KTL, sign us out, man.
You all.
Ain't no you all, man. All right, man. Real Rap Coalition podcast, man. 30 weeks strong, another 30 coming. We out this bitch. Next week, Gone Girl. It's lit.
Watch the fucking movie next week, KTL. Fuck wrong with you?
Sir, I will.